This is my homemade 12-ton shop press. I guess you could make it any tonnage you want by putting different jacks on it. I just chose 12-ton because that's all I needed. Would rebuild outdrives for MerCruisers and whatnot, and needed the press to press parts in the outdrives. I made this all from scrap. The framework was an old gas well gate that I cut up and re-welded. Used a hole saw to bore the holes for the different heights. The only things I really bought were the pins, the jack, the springs. This ram was from a piston from an old hydraulic cylinder. These were what the cylinders mounted onto that I used to guide the ram through. I did put a screw here so the jack could be changed. Take that screw out. You can pull this down and slide it right out. Pretty simple. You can change the height of the press by simply just pulling these out and putting them in different holes. We'll raise or lower this. I put the holes at the very bottom to do axle shafts. The bearings on the old Chevys had a bearing pressed onto the end of the shaft. It didn't have a C-clip axle, so you had to press the bearing on and off. Well, all the little doodad to hold the jack thing. Pretty simple, cut and dry. Close the valve and start pressing. Usually I just do the jacking down by hand because that moves so easy until I get to what I need to press. And then once I've pressed it off, and you can see where the piston's gone a little bit, you loosen this back up and it goes back up. Pretty dandy homemade shop press. I did buy this piece here. This is pipe. In between here, the scrap pipe that I had, iron pipe. I think I bought some of the bolts. I think there's iron pipe down in the base there where those bolts go through. And of course, everything I own is on casters, so I can move it around. I like to weld my name into things. This is just some heavy steel that I had that I welded on top of the bar from the gate. Pretty fancy homemade press, I think. Better than the ones I looked at them at Harbor Freight and some of the other places, and I just wasn't really too impressed with them. They weren't really what I wanted for what I needed for getting gear sets and whatnot in there to do pressing and bearings and races and whatnot. And this worked out pretty good. I picked this up. This is a KD Tools. And you can put that to wherever you need it. Tighten the bolts if you want. I rarely tighten the bolts. I usually just put it up with whatever and get to pressing. Works pretty darn good. I do have some things that fit over this that I've made different adapters for pressing. Rarely use them. And like I say, 12 tons has been more than enough. If I need more, I suppose I could change the jack to a 20, but I have never needed more than the 12 tons. That's always been more than adequate. The feet on the bottom that it rolls on are 36 inches long. And the press is about, I would guess, 6 feet tall total. It's about a little shorter than I am, and I'm 6'1".